creepy and cool TikToks that will blow your mind. Are you ready? Are you ready? Let's go!
Disclaimer: this video is for entertainment purposes only. Please do your own research, as these clips haven't been fact-checked.
At first, Caligula seemed like the perfect emperor, but he soon revealed what true madness looked like. In the dead of night, he would send guards to wake the senators and bring them before him. Terrified for their lives, they came expecting execution. Instead, the emperor would appear dressed as the goddess Aphrodite, silently perform a dance in front of them, and then send them home without a word. His next act was even stranger. He appointed his horse, Incitatus, as consul. The animal received a marble stable, a golden chain, personal servants, and an ivory dining table. The senators remained silent and applauded. On one occasion, Caligula assembled an army to invade Britain, but when the weather turned rough and the sea became choppy, he changed his plans and turned his fury toward the ocean. He ordered the legions to wage war on the sea, to slash at the waves with swords, hurl spears into the surf, and collect seashells from the coast, which they later brought back to Rome as trophies of their victory over Neptune. Rome was horrified, but no one dared to object. It all lasted 4 years, until his own bodyguards, the Praetorians, killed him and ended the reign of the god on earth.
Yup, this is nothing compared to that one Caligula movie I watched some years ago. It left me traumatized.
People are getting demons from watching the new Conjuring movie.
Somebody, come up now.
Someone is actually getting demons cast out of them in the movie theater. At the early screening, they hired a priest to bless people before they went in and gave them little bottles of holy water like that was gonna do anything. Horror movies are not neutral, they are demonic. I used to practice the occult. That means I used to be a witch until Jesus saved me, and I used to watch horror movies. It's not makeup, it's not special effects, it's not pretend. These horror movies open portals because there are real spells and incantations and rituals that are done on top of demons being glorified. When we talk about God and the Holy Spirit and we glorify Jesus, his presence draws near. And when you talk about demons and you watch demonic movies and things about death and possession and evil things, that's like a sweet aroma to those demons, like leaving out sweets for flies. They're attracted to it. So no, you can't go and watch a horror movie and say, it's okay, God will protect me. God is bigger than me watching a horror movie. That's literally like saying, I'm gonna go get a priest to bless me, and then I'm gonna go out and sin. I'm gonna go out and fornicate, and I'm gonna go get drunk, and I'm gonna go do drugs and lose my mind, but I'm okay because God protected me because I have a little bottle of water. But watching horror movies isn't a sin. No, the Bible says whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is pure and holy, these are the things that we are supposed to think about. We're not supposed to think about and glorify. And the Bible says that your eye is the light of your whole body. So if what is going into your eyes is darkness, the Bible says your whole body will be filled with darkness. So when you watch darkness, death, horror movies, demon movies, the body is filled with darkness. This allows demonic spirits, your eye gates, your ear gates. What are you seeing? What are you hearing? It allows those demonic spirits to enter because you opened the door for them. You gave them legal rights by opening yourself up. It doesn't matter if you got a priest to bless you. It doesn't matter if you prayed before you went in. You are opening yourself up, and God is not going to bless that. Christians can have demons. I was a Christian and I was living in sin, and I had to get deliverance because I was opening doors to demonic things. And if you don't believe me, go look up what happened to the people who worked on the set of The Exorcist, The Poltergeist, The Omen, The Crow. The list goes on and on. Curses and demons followed people who even worked on the movie sets and acted in the movies because they are demonic portals. If you want to learn more about this topic, my brand new book, Breaking Demonic Chains, is out now, and it talks deeper about this, and it exposes witchcraft, the occult, the dark arts, and all of that. And you can watch my new podcast episode diving deeper about The Conjuring and what is going on with this movie on my YouTube channel in the link in my bio. Love you guys, be blessed, and follow for more.
I think praying before watching a horror movie is like saying I love you before cheating.
Imagine being locked in an ice-cold swimming pool for 24 hours just to prove you can take it. That's how a notorious Brazilian cartel tests its young recruits. They drop you in, shut off the lights, and leave you there. No food, no drinking water, no way
Oh my
out.
goodness.
By the next day, chances are only one person is still alive.
What? Just hug each other for warmth. No Diddy.
I am wondering if you are all pedophiles,
Please.
because you don't seem to care that children are being sexually abused. So the only thing I could ascertain is that you guys probably enjoy child porn. I don't know, right? You're not looking. I mean, if somebody claimed that I was, I would say, I absolutely am not. I wouldn't let it stand as fact, but you guys love to let it stand as fact that that's what's going on, because you're not willing to stop it. So, I mean, if you're willing to perpetuate.
Just shows you like the level of power these monsters and tyrants have over human beings. These demons have God complexes, so they lack no empathy to any other human, and they feel they can just use other people however they see fit. People like this woman are incredibly brave, and it's so good to see people speaking up.
Yup, this woman needs to be protected at all costs.
People are getting cursed, even possessed, watching the new Conjuring, the Last Rites movie. Reports say priests have been called to theaters because people refused to be blessed or use holy water before entering, and some ended up vomiting or screaming as demons were cast out. This is not just a horror film, it's a door to spiritual darkness. We at the Daily Faith Ministry are here to remind you that the Bible warns, "The thief comes only to steal and kill and destroy. I have come that they may have life and have it to the full." John 10:10. Evil is real, and when you entertain it, you give it ground. Some premieres even feature the Annabelle doll, making matters worse. Protect yourself and your family. Do not play with the demonic. The safest choice is to stay away, but if you go, seek God's covering first. If you believe in the Word of God, click follow, like this video, and share it so it can reach more people.
I might be wrong, but it looks like what is it? Marketing gimmick?
This is what you could end up looking like if you eat some of the raw, frozen shrimp being sent to the United States by other countries.
From Indonesia.
Now, let me tell you what I'm talking about. In late August, the FDA found that raw frozen shrimp from Indonesia was being sold in Walmart under the Walmart label called the Great Value label. If you eat it, how could you end up looking like the alien in the Alien? Because the shrimp was radioactive. I kid you not.
I didn't believe a word of it until he said, "I kid you not." Must be legit.
Phone number, your email address. I've seen your disciplinary records. I know the names of all of your family members, including your dead mother and your daughter who turns 2 next week, and her mother who's going to have to pay for all the birthday presents this year because you came into my live stream and saw a black man who was talking about Pokemon cards and video games, and you assumed, yeah, he's not going to do anything if I call him slurs repeatedly, even though he's trying to help me. Turns out I am going to do something. Turns out there are so many things I can do because I have all the screenshots. I have all me.
Boom! Hi, my name's Real Life Consequences. And why am I scared?
The richest man of all time was Mansa Musa, an African emperor of the 14th century. He ruled the Mali Empire, which in that era controlled the largest gold reserves in the world. Gold was so abundant that people didn't even use it among themselves as everyday currency. Instead, their money was salt, rare and precious in the desert. But let's return to Mansa Musa himself, who became a legend in 1324 when he set out on his pilgrimage to Mecca. In a lavish procession unlike anything the world had ever seen, marched thousands of soldiers and servants, along with camels carrying as much as 9 tons of gold, which Musa freely gave to the poor and spent along the way. But in Cairo, he handed out so much gold that he collapsed the Egyptian economy. The market was flooded, the value of gold plummeted, and inflation lasted for more than 10 years. He died in 1337, leaving Mali at the height of its power. In history, he is remembered not only as the richest man who ever lived, but also as one of Africa's greatest rulers.
Why don't they make a movie about this?
Bro, this is one of the most controversial reality shows ever made. In 2007, producers from CBS took 40 children and sent them into the desert and told them you need to build and run your own society from scratch. Because, what could go wrong? It was called Kid Nation, and after parents signed a 22-page waiver preventing them from suing if anything went wrong, the children, aged from 8 years old to 15, were dropped off into an empty town in the middle of the New Mexico desert. And here they had to cook their own meals, collect water, hold down jobs, elect leaders, run a government, engage in town hall meetings. They had to enforce their own law and order, and even compete in challenges for gold stars, which were worth real cash prizes. I mean, sounds like a freaking banger series, right? But it kind of went a little exactly how you'd expect. A disaster. The kids were constantly fighting. One of them freaking accidentally drank bleach. A girl burnt her face with oil. Remember, they couldn't sue for any of this. Some kids just forgot to drink water and became dehydrated because they're kids, and there was even intense bullying. One 8-year-old kid was even dragged with a lasso around his neck. I mean, sounds like a standard country to me. But, I mean, for their trouble, they did get a month off of school and $5,000 each. Now, technically, there were adults present, but they were off camera. And we're talking like production crew, cameramen, medics, and of course, a team of psychologists monitoring the children. But they were instructed to interact with the children as little as possible. Now, the real nail in the coffin for the whole thing was when the group of kids had to slaughter a few chickens, all caught on camera, and man, this episode got huge backlash. In fact, even a lot of viewers said they were left traumatized by that episode. Now, after criticism from the press, low ratings, and even allegations of violating child labor laws, the show was cancelled in 2008 after just one season.
We need a Kid Nation too.
There's a vampire sanctuary located on an island in the middle of the ocean. These vampires are older than the so-called elders who live amongst humans. These vampires have been around for so long that they've developed abilities that your everyday vampires do not have. For instance, these vampires have the ability to fly. Now, they don't fly the way a bird flies. They don't have wings. They don't fly the way a plane flies. There's no jetpack on their back. These vampires have been around for so long that they've developed the ability to levitate their own body by using their mind. They've also developed elongated fangs. These fangs are so long that they are unable to retract their fangs anymore. There's a few reasons why these vampires have decided to live on this sanctuary. One being that they are quite literally tired of the human race. They were walking around in Rome before Caesar was there. They're absolutely tired of humans. They were tired of living in a world where humans were more of a blight than a gift to the planet. Another reason why they might live in this sanctuary is because with their elongated fangs, it became harder to hide the existence of vampires. While younger vampires can walk amongst the humans, these elders could not. This sanctuary is surrounded by tall stone mountains and very large, ancient trees. These trees have vines on them as small as a garden snake and as large as the torso of an elephant. These vines are riddled with thorns as small as ants and as big as a grizzly bear. Inside of these vines is a red substance. Now, this red substance can be consumed by vampires, but it's not a replacement for blood. The real purpose for this red substance within the vines is that when it's burned, it releases a gas. This gas then rises into the air and creates a mist. This mist covers the island, making it undetectable by radars or any other human instruments. You won't know about this island until it's too late. For centuries, ships and boats, and more recently, planes, go missing when they travel too close to the sanctuary. Not only does this mist protect the island from radars, but it also prevents radio waves from traveling in or out. This is why those ships, boats, and planes could never send a distress call when they were in trouble. It wasn't until around the late 1800s that people started to notice that people were going missing when traveling through this area. In 1880, a ship coming out of France was found without its crew. However, the cargo was still intact. The reason why the cargo was still intact is because these vampires had no use for the cargo, just the humans on board. Now you might wonder to yourself, well, if they wanted to keep this sanctuary a secret, why not hide the ship? They were using the ship as bait, because if you send the ship back without its crew, you're more than likely going to have other humans coming to find the missing. In 1918, a Navy ship carrying over 300 men vanished. No trace of them. They were never found, not even the ship. In 1945, 14 pilots went missing during a training mission. 13 more pilots went out to look for them. They came up missing too. Not only does this mist prevent radar detection and radio waves from traveling, it also shields the island from the sun and UV rays. Now, it's not that these vampires cannot handle the sun, it's that they prefer to be without the sun all the time. This sanctuary has been on this island for so long that the elders there don't even know who built it, who set it up, who cultivated it. They do know that it is called, after translation, the Sanctuary of Forever Night. Because humans don't know about this island, there is no name for it. But the area in which this island resides is known to humans as the Bermuda Triangle. The reason why I know about this sanctuary is because I was told by a gentleman who recently visited the island. Let's call this guy Vic. If you like stories like this, hypothetical stories of course, remember to like, comment, follow, and share. Cause I'm back, baby.
I'm back, baby. First thought that came to mind was Amelia Earhart.
Muchas gracias.
No, de nada, para servirme.
Buenas noches.
Gracias.
So I'm trying to look through my photos, right, and I see that I know that's a dolphin because I saw them behind me. There's me. And then I look over to the side because I'm trying to see the dolphin, and I'm like, what in the hell is that? Like, seriously, mermaid?
7, 6, 11, 5, 9 and 20 miles
Somebody
today,
behind the
4,
fridge.
11, 17, 32 the day before. Boot, 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 moving up and down again. There's no discharge in the war.
She is neither an actress nor a singer nor an influencer, but when she speaks, celebrities tremble. Her name is Michelle Lamy, and many in the fashion industry call her the Great Dark Witch. Strange, with a voice from beyond the grave, gold in her teeth, and tattoos on her fingers. But what strikes most is not her appearance. It's her power. Why does she have so much influence? First, because she comes from the true underworld. Before fame, she was an artist, a philosopher, a performer, a creator, and even the owner of a secret club in Los Angeles where artists, millionaires, and misfits gathered. That's where she began building her cult. Second, because she is the brain behind Rick Owens. She is not only his wife, she is his inspiration, his partner, and his guide. Everything Rick imagines goes through her first. Third, because everyone wants to be part of her circle. She doesn't care about fame. That's why stars fight to get her attention. And when someone betrays her, they vanish from the map. Michelle doesn't seek the spotlight, but all the spotlights end up turning toward her. And you, would you be on her side or on her blacklist?
I'm on Jesus' side.
One of the most scandalous popes in history was Rodrigo Borgia. He rose to the top through bribery and political deals, and in 1492 took the seat of St. Peter as Alexander VI, while Rome openly whispered that he had bought the papal crown with cardinal votes. Instead of a spiritual leader, the city got a ruler who turned the Vatican into a center of luxury, intrigue, and scandal. He didn't even try to hide his vice and greed. He indulged in mistresses and lavish banquets, and with Vanozza Catanei, he had children whom he openly acknowledged. His son Cesare and daughter Lucrezia became remembered for murders and political conspiracies. Rodrigo used the church to strengthen his family's power, handing out cardinal titles to relatives, arranging marriages, and taking part in endless plots. His lavish feasts became legendary, especially the infamous Banquet of Chestnuts, a debauched orgy in the Vatican where prostitutes, according to chroniclers, crawled naked to gather chestnuts scattered on the floor, while guests watched and gambled on who would sleep with whom. He died in 1503, and his name became a symbol of corruption and decadence within the church.
I watched that show, The Borgias. AI, folks, AI. 100%.
Cynthia Erivo was playing Jesus at the Hollywood Bowl when viewers noticed something strange. Look at her hands. Do they look human to you? And before you say it's just a camera trick or bad angle, this isn't the first time she's been seen like this. So what's really going on there?
Yep, Hollywood is demonic. It's just a red panda. I thought Satan was sitting there.
This man disappeared and never found again after revealing what actually happened during sleep. Watch this.
Every night we go to sleep, and nobody questions where do we go. I've often asked, do you punch a ticket? Do you have a transfer? What vehicle do you use? How much fuel does it take? And where do you go? Everybody on earth that has a soul sleeps, unless you're very refined, and even then you may sleep at least once a month. Sleep really means that your body can no longer hold the soul because it's run out of energy. And the body becomes so despicably horrible to the soul that until it cleans up itself, the soul leaves. So each night you die. You will die every 3 days, or you will die standing up. You can go to sleep standing up. People had guard duty, just go and sleep. They'll still be with you, they're still there. But you have to go to sleep because the energy in your body is not strong enough to maintain you. So you have to get out so the body can renew itself. You, as a soul, go out and receive some energy, jump back into the body, and then you go.
Okay.
There's a spell that I was hired to do on multiple females. It gives them a voice of a lot higher range than what they naturally have. And that spell involves me going into the studio when they're singing, pulling down the back of their pants, and inserting my finger in their rectum.
What?
And I do a magic spell to go with it. It's not just a finger in the rectum. We found that spell in I think it was a druid spell book for improving somebody's singing voice. So they may have a range of 2 octaves that they can go up. I do this spell, this will give them 6 octaves.
Wow. Hey man, I wasn't ready for this. Music industry is demonic.
she thought was her best friend ended up cursing her, and that video is basically her last moments alive before she ended up just tragically passing away from a heart attack. She was 15 years old. 2019 is the timeline. She ends up talking to this boy, right? You know, they kind of kick it off a little bit, but it never gets serious. A couple days later, this girl named Stephanie moves into her little town in Venezuela, but this girl, she's 20 years old. They somehow ended up becoming friends, and at first Narieli's parents were kind of iffy because they were like, what does a 20-year-old have hanging out with this 15-year-old, right, if she's a little kid? But eventually Stephanie kind of won her parents over. It was kind of like a role model big sister type of thing. She would even like stay at their house for a little bit, have some sleepovers. Narieli's parents and Narieli, they were Catholic, but Stephanie practiced Santeria. I know a lot of people know exactly what it is. Some people could say automatically it's brujeria, but some people could take that as like a derogatory term. So this day at the beach, they decided to practice some Santeria. And they ended up basically doing like a little ritual, and Stephanie ended up giving Narieli a friendship bracelet, which is what she called it. She's like, okay, keep this on. As long as you keep this on, nothing is gonna happen to you and these spirits are gonna protect you.
But why though?
It was because of the boy. How I said in the beginning, she wanted to get rid of Narieli because she thought that she was in the way.
Yo, what the?
But there's more.
Whoa.
Because it wasn't just
Why?
a friendship
Evil.
bracelet that was like the curse. It's darker than that, bro. Whenever she would be over her house, she would steal personal belongings, get her brush, take her hair out,
I was just about to say something to do with hair.
and go to a cemetery and bury it inside the cemetery. But not only that, bro. But not only that, this is when it gets a little darker, bro. This is very, very disturbing, bro. When she was at the cemetery, after burying the things in the cemetery, she would get some remains of bodies, grind it up, and every little chance that she got, she would sprinkle it on her food.
I'm a brainwashing expert, and I am personally terrified of short form social media like that. And I'm not immune. And I'm one of the best in the world, and I am not immune to it. And I think that should be a stark warning for a lot of people.
What the is a brainwashing expert?
One of the most bizarre events in the history of the church took place in Rome in 897. Pope Stephen VI ordered the exhumation of his predecessor, Pope Formosus, who had been dead for several months, in order to put him on trial. The corpse was dressed in papal robes, placed on a throne, and formally charged.
Why?
The accusations included perjury and illegally assuming the papacy. A priest was assigned to act as his defense attorney, and in complete seriousness, answered questions on behalf of the decaying corpse. The trial ended with the dead pope being found guilty. All of Formosus's papal acts were annulled. His blessing fingers were cut off, and he was reburied, this time in an unmarked grave. But even that wasn't the end. Pope Stephen VI and his supporters decided to dig him up again, tied a stone to his body, and threw him into the Tiber River. When the Roman public found out, they were outraged. Stephen was soon arrested, imprisoned, and eventually killed in his cell. The event became known as the Cadaver Synod, though the church later tried to cover it up.
That's just crazy.
So I was with some friends in LA, and it was this big influencer party. Should I say a name? It was Bella Thorne party. So I got invited from some other friends. It was on Halloween. I already don't celebrate Halloween. That's the Devil's Day. But I happened to be with them, and they was going. I was like, okay, let's go. So it already was a lot of signs. The party said you have to be half naked. I'm like, first of all, I ain't going half naked nowhere. Second of all, it was like a lot of signs that was adding up that night. Like the same night on Hollywood Boulevard, the party was off Hollywood Boulevard. Some guy got on Hollywood Boulevard, so the whole street was shut down. So that was another sign. So then we get to the party. You know, this is the beginning of all the stuff. So we get up there. They talking about, oh yeah, you can't bring your phone in. I'm like, first of all, who ain't bringing their phone?
Love her accent. Where's she from?
You have to be rich to get rich. You ever heard that line, money follows?
Do y'all want to know what else makes sense? I'm going to blow your mind right now. I'm going to blow it. All of the other gods in other religions are fallen angels. Yeah, you heard me right. Let's get into the Egyptian gods first of all. Something that I'm so confused about is how other people have not wondered who are the other gods that they keep mentioning in the Bible. Like these other gods that they worship, Babylonian gods, Egyptian gods, Canaanite gods. It can't just be a bunch of golden idols. It can't. It's gotta come from somewhere, and that somewhere is fallen angels. Like I said, we're gonna be focusing on Egyptian. Sorry to interrupt the tea, guys. Make sure that you follow my Instagram. I'm gonna be taking the biblical tea and all of this stuff over there because
Oh yeah, folks, follow my Instagram at Broski Ray.
TikTok is apparently going away again. I'm so sick of the back and forth. So follow me on there. Don't forget. And we could do a whole series, y'all. The Greek gods, so many similarities. It's going to be crazy. But the Egyptian gods specifically, let's talk about the very first dynasty. The Egyptian dynasty. The pharaoh during that time was called Narmer. Now this was the golden age of Egypt where it says that humans mingled and walked with the gods. You want to know why they mingled and walked with the gods? It's because the fallen angels came down to earth and procreated with mortal women. This is straight from canon Bible, Genesis, and gave birth to, and the women gave birth to Nephilim, giants. And a lot of people always ask me, how did mortal women give birth to giants? Y'all, come on. They came out regular and they grew exponentially from there. They didn't come out giants. That's impossible. Anyway, so during the time, according to the Book of Enoch, which I read as history or lore, not scripture. The reason why I don't read the Book of Enoch as scripture, because I know you guys are going to ask, is because it has nothing to do with salvation. So the enemy can still use apocryphal text to distract you from what's really important and make you think, oh, you're reading Bible, so it's okay. No, do not get obsessed with this stuff. Don't. It's okay to go down some rabbit holes, but don't make this your whole personality to where you forget about what's really important, and that's Jesus.
100%.
And that's on biblical period. Now, according to the Book of Enoch, while the fallen angels were down here, they were not only procreating with the mortal women, they were trying to pervert God's creation in any way they knew how, which meant, what's that called? What is that word? Miscegenation, I think. Basically mixing breeds, mixing DNAs of humans and animals. This is why a lot of the Egyptian gods are half human and half animal. Am I blowing your mind yet? This is why in the Sumerian tablet, the Epic of Gilgamesh, you're going to see like Humbaba being half animal, half man kind of creatures, right? This is why in the Greek mythology, you're seeing half animal, half man creatures like satyrs and centaurs. There is always a common denominator because it came from the fallen angels. A lot of people can say, okay, well, where are the giants in the Egyptian mythology? All you have to do is look a little bit at Egyptian hieroglyphics and you will see that it's riddled with giants. Like, I'm talking about riddled with it. Go on Google, search it up right now. Giants on Egyptian hieroglyphics, and you're going to see it. Now, let's talk about we're not even talking about the pyramids right now. First of all, the Nephilim, aka the giants, they built the pyramids. There's no way that humans, like mortal humans, could have done the things that the pyramid has going on. Not to mention the ultram at the top, which is a mix of gold and silver, which we still have not been able to do to this day. You cannot mix gold and silver. There are certain parts of the pyramids that are devoid of time. And honestly, just speaking physically, each cinder block of the pyramids is what, a ton? That's impossible. Anyway, we're going to talk about the Sphinx. The Great Sphinx, on the sides of it, archaeologists have come to the conclusion that the only way that it could be rounded on the edge the way it is, or on all the edges, is if there was a large body of water that crashed against it, the flood. On the side of the Sphinx, there is a phrase called Zep Tepi. Zep Tepi means we have been here for the first times. The fallen angels, here on the earth for the first time because they came down and procreated with the daughters of man. Come on, y'all. It's literally... Sorry, y'all. My husband's putting my daughter to sleep. She's not ready to go down. But anyway, it's literally like the proof is in the pudding. Just a little bit, a little more sprinkle for you guys to be interested. Tell me why I had seen this video and this dude was like, oh, each of the plagues, like the plagues that God sent because the Pharaoh didn't want to let Moses take the Israelites out of Egypt. Tell me why he said that each of them matched an Egyptian god. So like, it's almost like God was like one-upping them and showing dominion over them. And I find it crazy when Christians think like, oh, this couldn't possibly be the case. When Moses went into Egypt, right, and God turned his staff into a snake, and then the Egyptian sorcerers also were able to turn their staffs into snakes, even though God's snake ate their snake, because he is the King of Kings, Lord of Lords, and he is the Almighty. Who gave those magicians the power to turn their staffs into snakes? Nobody ever asks these questions. Anyway, y'all, as always, make sure you like, follow, and comment down below what you think. And let me know if y'all want to keep this going, because I could make a whole series. Next, Greek mythology. Yes.
This is why all the stories repeat in multiple cultures. Same deities across different time frames.
And cloning technology We got in a huge fight with the Swiss. They, as you all know, are the heads of the cloning technology. A big problem happened when we ended up cloning Jamie Foxx. I can't get into it here. I did sign an NDA, but let's just say it ruined our relationship with the Swiss cloning people. And, hey, not my fault. I'm just the head of the interns. But honestly, that Jamie Foxx clone looks like trash. And we do want the refund, and we should get the refund. And it's not okay that you're still dodging our refund request, Swiss scientists.
Can I get a clone? I'm tired of working every day.
A 23-year-old British woman in Dubai has been sentenced to life in prison after making a very stupid mistake in the notoriously strict country. Law student Mia O'Brien is currently in Dubai Central Prison as her mother desperately tries to raise funds for travel and legal fees to help her out of the desperate situation. Mia's mum says that she is absolutely devastated and wrote that she hasn't seen her daughter since last October. While the details of Mia's crime have not been shared, the Emirate countries can hand out life sentences, which is 15 years in jail, for crimes like drug trafficking, serious violence and terrorism. According to the UK Foreign Office, British visitors are explicitly warned not to flout the country's laws, singling out drug offences in particular.
Drug trafficking is a serious crime.
If time doesn't exist, why do we remember a past and fear a future? When I was in a coma, I learned something really wild. I learned that time isn't what we think it is. We live this life frame by frame like we're watching a movie. But here's the thing, the movie has already been filmed. Every version of you, every chapter already exists. The only reason why we think in the past or in the future is because we're stuck inside the character's point of view. But the author already sees the entire book. Now, when I was in the coma, when I was unconscious, I stepped outside of the pages. I could see multiple doors and I could see multiple paths, all existing at the same time. That's when it hit me. Life isn't happening to us, it's happening through us. The past wasn't behind me and the future wasn't ahead of me. It was all now. And I had to choose which door I walked through. There's the realization. Chosen ones are here to remember that the book is already written, and we have to choose how we live the chapter that we're currently in. Now, make sure you like, follow, and save so that this video circles back to you, because in the next video, I'm going to talk to you about how to choose which version of yourself that you want to live. Now, if anything that I said resonates, drop the word door in the comments, and I'll see you in the next video.
I heard someone said the future happens before the present. Let it sink in.
The most lethal people I knew at CIA didn't have medals. They didn't have muscles. The thing that made them so dangerous was one simple rule. A rule that you won't see in social media, you don't hear about in your favorite podcasts, and you certainly don't read about in best-selling self-help books. But that is one rule that I'm going to share with you today. Elite operators at CIA and in the military understand that emotion is a liability. Emotion is what distracts you. Emotion is what derails you. Emotion is what makes you doubt yourself. So instead, we rely on consistency, consistency of execution, consistency of certain skills, consistency of a process, because consistent inputs will result in consistent outcomes. And it's the outcome that the mission is all about. The mission doesn't need your emotion. The mission needs your consistency. When I was a junior officer in the U.S. Air Force, I ended up becoming the youngest commander ever in charge of 200 nuclear ICBMs. I didn't get there because I was creative. I wasn't promoted because I was innovative. I followed the protocol exactly to the letter with consistency every time, over time. And as a result of that, I built the kind of trust and dependability that was needed in the nuclear missile field. When it comes down to nuclear weapons, People understand that one emotional decision could result in global Armageddon. So they have no space, no tolerance for emotional people. That doesn't mean you're not allowed to have emotions or feel emotions, but it does mean that if you're going to operate, you cannot operate from a foundation of emotions. Don't get me wrong, 24-hour shifts underground in the missile fields of Malmstrom Air Force Base in Montana were not easy. They were not fun. The protocols were repetitive. The boredom was mind-numbing. But that difficulty is also what made it all the more important to continue to follow those protocols with discipline. At the end of the day, whatever weapon system you command doesn't care about your feelings. It cares about inputs and outputs. It cares about consistency, whether it's your business or your family or your job. So if you want to have elite outcomes, you have to create an elite system, a system that doesn't change, a protocol that you follow consistently every time. Whether it's a morning routine or a gym routine or a diet routine, make sure that you set it and you follow it consistently. When things get hard, you have to default to execution, not emotion. One of the most powerful tools that you can use for consistent execution is actually as simple as a checklist. Checklists aren't weak. They are weapons. They are weapons that can help you get ahead of your competition. They are weapons that can help you stay in a strong position on the battlefield. They are weapons that help you feel confident that no matter what lies ahead of you, you will be able to blow through it and continue to achieve the outcomes that you.
Yep. If you cannot control your emotion, I don't think you can control anything.
Substance that the Vatican calls holy chrism in secret rituals. You waste it without knowing. Christos was never a proper name. In Greek, it literally means oil. The same precious oil that your pineal and pituitary glands secrete when the moon crosses the degree of your birth. Carey exposed in his book, God, Man, the Word Made Flesh, preserve this secretion for 72 hours without alcohol and it rises through the spine, explodes in potency in the brain, and produces the state they sell as salvation through Jesus. Golgotha means place of the skull, and it's not a hill in Jerusalem. It's the base of your skull where the optic nerves cross. The bread and wine of communion, metaphors for this sacred secretion from your body, which they replaced with crackers and juice. Constantine, who boiled his own wife, changed the original lunar calendar. Result, you never get the timing of your sacred cycles right. While popes fast during the correct lunar periods, you pay tithes, thinking you need a priest to talk to God. The illumination you beg for on your knees is being produced right now in your head.
This is a new age BS, and Jesus Christ is real.
Hey, learning just as you are. I wish I knew this sooner. Mr. Solomon warns about these 7 women that would ruin kings. Interesting, you might say. Let's talk. Now, Mr. Solomon must know something if he was the wisest man to have ever lived, and he had 700 wives. Take it from somebody that know. You know what I mean? Jezebel, the loud, lawless, and addicted to power. She doesn't want a husband. She wants a throne. Jezebel emasculated the kings and mocked prophets. Modern Jezebel emasculate husbands and mock submission. You can't build peace with her. She only respects war. Now that's deep because I got a couple exes. It's just like, let's talk about Miss Delilah. She loves you until she learns your weakness. Delilah didn't need an army. All she needed was a smile. And she used it to disarm Samson. Her kiss are bait and her lap is a trap. And when the Philistines come for you, she'll sell your soul for oh my, you know how many women I know like that? The strange woman scares me. She makes lust look like love. Proverbs call her sweet like honey, smooth with words. She tells you what you want to hear, feeds your ego, and praises your strength while planning your fail. Her lips drip flattery. Her path drips blood. Oh my Jesus. The contentious woman. I just believe the contentious woman gotta be a Leo. Every day is a courtroom. Solomon said, better to live on the roof of a house than with a quarrelsome wife. This woman doesn't argue to solve. She argues to win. She'll drain your peace with debates, mock your vision with sarcasm, and weaponize silence when words don't work. She doesn't want clarity. She wants control. Boy, I'm trying to tell you I know something. Now, I want you to pay attention to these next three because these are big in modern day times. The gold digger. She treats your wallet like worship. She doesn't care about a legacy. She cares about lifestyle. She's measured by love, as in the size of your ring, the brand of your bag, and the balance of your account. You stop paying, she stops staying. She's not your wife, she's your bill. And there's a lot of girls in modern day times that worship this. And another thing with worshiping, the idler. She makes herself God. I could think of 5 names off the bat. I'm not gonna lie. She doesn't bend the truth. She bends truth to herself. She worships the body, her beauty, her divine feminine energy. But a woman who worships herself will never honor a man because in her religion, y'all see what I said, ladies? She's the only God that matters. Now, when guys was saying this, we was trying to tell y'all, but y'all don't want to. And finally, the Widowmaker. She loves you to death, not with a knife, not with poison, with slow destruction. She drains your focus, mocks your discipline, and celebrates your weakness. And when you've lost your crown, your children, and your vision, she'll stand over the ruins and say, you weren't man enough. Now, how often do we hear these last 3 types of women? And before women get on here, Solomon did not lie. The wrong woman won't just ruin a night. She will ruin a name. Jezebel makes you a slave. We all know a couple of them like that. Delilah sells your secrets. Strange woman burns your body. The contentious woman destroys your peace. The gold digger empties your house. More than that, for real. And the idler kills your faith. The window maker buries your purpose. And if Solomon was the wisest man who ever lived, lost his way to a woman like this, what chance do you think you have without vigilance? Let's talk. But it makes sense. So when people ask in modern day, why is it a men versus women? Let's understand why. Now, I do not believe all women are like that. I believe there are many good women in the world. However, there are a lot of women acting like they are good women and really are women of the 7. And you ask yourself, oh, I'm not one of them. Even if you're not one of them, multiple people that are like one of the 7. And like I said, I'm learning this just like you're learning this. So if you feel like you have something you would like to comment as in knowledge towards the soul, please add so in the comments.
I know a girl that was all 7 in one.
I got called to I was working with this young officer and we got called up to this house up here on the mountain. The call comes in on the computer and it says this guy wants his wife taken to the psychiatric center. And I was kind of like, man, that's your wife, that's your problem, man, you take her. But I felt like a dick when I got there because it was anything but. We get there, we knock on the door and this elderly man opens and he says, hey, my wife's been in the psych center for months. They let her go and she needs to go back and I'm afraid to put hands on her. I don't want to fight her. I don't want her to fight back and I don't want to be accused of hurting my wife. We've been through enough. Well, she's upstairs. She's been out, I don't know, a few weeks and she's not eating. She hasn't showered. She's not taking care of herself. She's not on her meds. And she's just been pacing up and down, back and forth, just pacing. And he goes, be careful where you step when you go up there because there's blood along the floor. All right, because she'd been dragging her feet and it just like gnawed her feet down. It was causing them to bleed out.
Jesus.
Yeah. Their son comes out of the kitchen or something. He's like, hey, what's up, you guys? Like, hey, what's up, man? And the dude says, go upstairs. Just be careful. She's up there. It's kind of already eerie. He's like, be careful. As we walk up the steps, beautiful home. I can't reiterate how lovely this home was. Like, it's like right out of the movies. There she is. She's straight back. And she's just kind of taking that that torque stance where she just tweaked, you know, and her hair is just stringy and matted down, you know, just all matted out, and her skin is just pasty, just like, and she's doing this breathing like, going, fuck. She pops up, right? She just starts walking towards us, and she walks right towards me, and she beelines it right back to where she was started, and she's just going back and forth, dragging her feet, and she's like hyperventilating, and her body's jerking. I'm going like, what the fuck? No, I'm well versed in crazy bitch because I've dated a few of them. But this was on another level, man. I get the officer I'm with starts talking to her, and they're like facing each other. And this lady, she just looks at me. She just turns and looks at me, right? And she shallows her breathing, and she's looking at me, and I'm going like, what is she doing, man? I felt like red flag 1, like something in her was watching me. I know that sounds nuts. That sounds like when we're looking at each other now, it's not like that. Like something was, I'm going, this is fucking weird. And then right then, this old man comes up, and he has something in his hand. And I'll get to that in a second. He has something in his hand. Kid does something. Red flag number 2. Kid takes a key out, and he unlocks his bedroom door and a deadbolt. I'm going, who does that?
Right.
I mean, you don't even have keys on this, probably on your doors, you know, to the bedrooms here.
Regular.
This is also custom where it's a deadbolt.
Oh.
Like, who does that? He has his Bible, and he sees that I have tattoos. He goes, do you have to cover those up? I'm like, yeah, man. He goes, check this out. He shows that tattoo now. And it's this angelic Christian, whatever this thing is, like a protector. And I'm telling the officer, let's go. Let's get her going. The whole time she's engaged in me. And the kid says something. I'll never forget this. Sir? I'm like, what's up, man? He goes, this is nothing. I'm like, what do you mean this is nothing? He goes, you should hear it at night. I go, what? Jeez. You should hear it at night. I go, this is your mother. You refer to her as it? That's not my mom, bro. I don't know what that is. He goes, and that's why I locked my door. I went, fuck this, man. So we get her, right? We're like, I tell the officer, we got to take her. Well, then that old man standing there with that thing in his hand, he has a Rolodex, like 3x5 pictures that maybe your parents had, you know, like a little album.
Right.
And they had just moved here from maybe Idaho or Iowa. Again, lovely home. He's flipping through it, and he gets through this picture of this woman in the kitchen in that house. And that was her, and she's stunning. And I'm like, is this her? He goes, yeah. I go, what happened? He goes, we don't know. They don't know. I said, is she an addict? Is she on drugs? History of any of that?
But wait, they don't know who she is?
No, that's his wife. They don't know what happened to her, according to her husband.
Oh, so the kid said that's not his mom.
Yeah, what he's saying, like what she's doing
in her current state.
Yes, he goes, that's not my mom.
Okay,
that's not like what he's saying is that's not the woman I know.
Right.
Yeah, you know that's mom. But
so he deadbolts his door at night because of her.
Yes,
the demons come out.
Whatever it is, man.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Demonic possession. 90% of mental health issues is spiritual, but the Lord Jesus can deliver you.
Yeah. But did you hear about what happened to Kai Cenat? What happened? Did you know Kai Cenat stopped his Nike deal? You didn't hear about this, huh? No! So Kai Cenat stopped his Nike deal because Nike didn't like that Kai was talking about God.
Money is not good money.
Yeah.
No matter what religion you believe in, look.
Why are they scared?
Jesus Christ is real. There was a lot of things I just had to say no to. I want y'all to know that, bro. In life, no matter anything what it is okay to say no. Whatever you build from the ground up, you make sure you have that, you keep that.
Dead ass? Yeah. Oh, that's kind of So he went on stream and talked about God. Mm-hmm. They wanted him to stop. So he said, it's okay, I'm not going to go with you guys tonight. Yo, okay, that's real. And that's the same thing that happened to Steph Curry. You know, the reason Steph Curry was with Under Armour, it was so he could put the, I can do all things through Christ, who strengthens me. You know how on the Curry shoes? Yeah. It has that Bible verse? They stopped that? He was going to get Nike shoes. Yeah. But Nike didn't allow it. But Under Armour did, so he went with Under Armour so that he can put that on his shoes. Because he used to marker it already on his kicks, but he wanted his signature shoes to have it already.
In this never-before-seen footage, a self-proclaimed seventh-generation Illuminati member takes you to a Freemason mansion. Watch this.
So at the beautiful Masonic Lodge on Nob Hill, as you can see, this relief is absolutely gorgeous. I'm going to take you guys closer. Before I do, I really want you guys to understand how giant it is. It spans an entire city block. We come upon this incredible entrance. And as you can see, the masonry thinks beyond the earth and gets into mastery over the universe. So the Masons are very misunderstood. There is no sacrifice going on here. There's no homosexual acts going on inside the temple. And there is no devil worship happening here. To be a member, you must have a higher power. That eye right there is called the Eye of Providence. And it is God's eye. Masonry, under God. So the Master Mason here depicted, you're seeing all of his different philosophical, spiritual, and physical armaments around him. And you can see that he's being served by the local community of black and brown people. And I say that a little bit facetiously, but the reality is it really was pretty much an all-white organization until probably into the 80s and certainly into the 90s. It became way more inclusive, and now it's really inclusive. The Masons are a really great community organization. It's great for business relationships. It's great if you're a man that wants deeper relationships with other men. If you're tired of just talking about sports and bullshit and you want to talk about other things, life matters, things that really mean something, the Masonry is a really great place to start. But more than anything, I really wanted to cover the beauty and the inspirational nature of this building. And I also want to note it, the whole thing is a war memorial and a dedication to the people that served. God bless America. I love you guys. Peace, blessings, and shine the fuck on.
Fractional ownership. This one, for all the real estate people that follow me, you're going to understand this one. So why all the kids are liking fractional ownership? Because you can now buy real estate without having to come up with, let's say, a $300,000 down payment. And this is something that actually happened. So instead of needing a giant down payment, you can now divide the down payment into shares. And these shares are called tokens. And you can now buy for as little as $50, and all of a sudden you are a co-owner in that property. And there's platforms doing this right now. There's a platform called Realty where you can buy a token, and every week you can get paid out crypto through the rental income of the property. There's no management of it. It's a passive investor. It's a passive investment. Deloitte, who's one of the monsters, I mean that in the sense of they're one of the giants, they say there's $4 trillion in real estate that's going to be tokenized by 2035. So it's happening now, but what we're about to see is massive scale.
This might be the greatest Ponzi scheme ever created. What do you think?
A lot of people do not know the Vatican made a contract. An actual contract was signed with the King of England back in the Middle Ages, where the Pope said that he declared himself the Vicar of Christ. The word vicar in Latin simply means someone who stands in for someone else. According to the Vatican concept that God created the whole heavens and he created the earth, he gave the earth to Jesus, his son. And so consequently, Jesus owns the earth and everything on it. But since Jesus is not here right now, somebody has to run the earth. So consequently, the Pope is going to stand in for him until he gets him. A lot of people are totally unaware of this contract between Rome and the King of England to rule the world. And at that time, the people who were called English became known as British. British comes from a Hebrew word, berith. In Hebrew, the word berith is a contract or a covenant. And ish in Hebrew means man or men, can be singular or plural. Therefore, berith ish, contract man, or man of the contract, or British, the man of the contract. This is why in the Western world, anything you're going to do in business requires a contract.
This is a truly disturbing image. A Mexican TikToker and her family were recently found wrapped in plastic and dumped in their pickup truck. Along with Esmeralda was her husband and 2 children, which were only 7 and 13 years old. In fact, this happened in the same state that TikToker Valeria Marquez was killed in just a few months ago. Now, the family's bodies were found on August the 22nd inside a van that had been abandoned at a mechanic's shop. Police arrested 3 men who were described as the managers of the mechanic shop, but they were later released due to insufficient evidence linking them to the crime. Local media report that those men were then kidnapped after leaving Jalisco's prosecutor's office. According to initial investigations, the attack was not directed at Esmeralda, but rather her husband.
Tom Brady is considered to be one of the greatest football players who ever existed. But is he really? Who knows that Tom Brady was married to a witch who did rituals so that he won football games? Sound crazy, huh? Well, watch him say it out of his own mouth.
Any superstitions going into the game? Any special thing you carried into the game on Sunday that you had tucked away somewhere?
I did. I always sung. You know, I've learned a lot from my wife over the years. She's so about the power of intention, you know, and believing things that are really going to happen. And she always makes a little altar for me at the game because she just wills it so much. And so she put together a little altar for me that I could bring with pictures of my kids and I have these little special stones and healing stones and protection stones, and she has me wear a necklace and take these drops she makes, and I say all these mantras. And I stopped questioning her a long time ago. I did. I just shut up and listened. And at first I was like, this is kind of crazy. And then about 4 years ago, we were playing the Seahawks, and she said, you better listen to me. This is your year, but this is all the things you're going to have to do to win. And I did all those things, and by God, it worked. It was pretty good. And then in 2015, it was about early January, and she said, you know how much I love you? And I said, yeah. And she said, I just want to let you know this is not going to be your year. And of course we lost. I said, what does 16 look like? And she said, 16 is going to be your year. So it was early January this year, and I said, babe, I'm asking, like, do we have a chance? And she said, yeah, but you're going to have to do a lot of work, and you're really going to have to listen to me. So, man, I listened to her. And right after the game, she said, see, I did a lot of work. You do your work, I do mine. She said, you're lucky you married a witch. I'm just a good witch.
So Tom Brady said that his wife said, you lucky you married a witch. I'm just a good witch. And everybody laughed. After he got done talking about the rituals that was done for him to win football game. Is nobody seeing the reality of this? Am I tripping? How is nobody stopping and saying, wait, what did he just say? I guess that's the reality we live in, where people are just brainwashed. And they laugh because the next person is laughing. Guys, God is real. There is no good witch, there is no bad witch. They all operate from the same source, and it's not God. It's sorcery. She may be doing all that for him to win, but she will pay for what she's done. She will be drained. And whoever's dealing with something like this, or if you're in the same situation, run. Get out.
Yep, there's no such thing as a good witch.
Do you really think presidents rule the world? They're just a facade. What truly matters happens behind a curtain. And no one reaches the top without first being approved by the shadows.
Ooh, the shadows.
There's a structure above governments. A council that never appears on the news. They decide wars, crises, deals, even who's meant to lose. People argue over parties, but the real game is played by those who never run for office. They control the banks, social media, culture, and most of all, the narrative. Because whoever controls the narrative controls the truth. And behind that political and media control lies something far older, a force you can't see, but you can feel. Spiritual influence disguised as strategy. While the world sleeps, believing in democracy, the most powerful men on earth follow orders from a throne no one voted for. And when that throne speaks, no nation will be out of reach.
But at the end, God will win.
The Illuminati have tight control over their members, making sure they stick to the script they have written for them, making sure they play their parts. Meet DJ Khaled. His Palestinian roots are being put to the test. The Illuminati have sent one of their agents to make sure he stays in check.
Nice session. I see you still making them hits, making that money for us. Spreading the negative lyrics. Just like we told you to do. Good, I knew you wouldn't let us down.
What you mean? I'm giving back. I've started a charity. No negative vibrations, just positive. Anyway, Courtney, what are you doing here?
Positive. If that were true, we wouldn't have given you your platform. Now everybody knows that music penetrates the mind like no other medium does. That's just science. So for every life you help, 1,000 more end up incarcerated. Now there's some rumor going around that you are thinking of standing up for Palestine. Is there any truth in the story?
Well, I am Palestinian, so yes, I was going to make a record and send the proceeds to the cause back to Palestine.
No, you won't. No way. That conflict is above your station. The script is, only celebrities of our choosing are allowed to get involved. You at present are not one of those celebrities, so don't even think about it.
What? Look, listen, Courtney. I don't need your permission. This has nothing to do with the music business.
This has everything to do with the business. You are to shut it. No talking of the conflict until I give you the green light. Is that clear?
What do you mean, is that clear? My family are out there. No way am I staying silent. No, you mistaken. You can't bully me. I'm doing it regardless. Now leave.
Oh, I see. You haven't seen the real me yet. Well, let me reintroduce myself.
Now, you listen to me, you overweight piece of shit. You are to keep your fat mouth quiet. We run the show, we control you and all of the rest of your pathetic friends. We will let you speak when we decide to use you. And only then.
Look at the eyes.
Do you think we care about your family? They can perish with the rest of the sacrificial lambs. We need this to keep going, as it is a purge, a ultimate ritual. Yes, we grow stronger each day the conflict continues. The ultimate purge. As we speak, the elders rejoice at your people's sacrifice. Hail the darkness. You should also rejoice, as you have helped putting your family in this predicament.
You see, once a member, you have to play your part. Stick to the script. Imagine having to sit back while your people suffer. He has all the money in the world, but has no freedom.
You overweight piece of... The wives be the handlers.
The United States is owned by foreign corporations. Nixon opened it up for foreign trade. And when Nixon opened up for foreign trade, the people of Europe and the common market in Spain and different places, they don't care about the United States forest. And in short, the United States has been sold out by people who really don't care for anything but money. I've had all the money in the world 3 times. I had to give it back to keep the game going.
What game?
The game. It's a game. Money is a game. It's only real to the people who work for it. The people that don't need to work for money, it's a monopoly game. It's a game of paper. It's all on paper. I've got a production company, and I've got a recording company, and I've got a mansion in Beverly Hills, and I've got Rolls Royces and Ferraris. I've got everything money can buy, but it's all on paper. Everything's done through the companies and through the tax loopholes, and the people that live on that level, they don't care about the average honest mule that just goes back and forwards to work. They don't care about the children that are in the streets that are thrown out of this upper echelon of existence. And then when all the children fall down into me, on my level, I pretty much identify with them because I was a throwaway also. So it goes to the point of, do you really care?
When you said...
And who does care? And if anybody cares, they're considered crazy.
He did despicable things, but I think in this clip, he's legit speaking truths. What do you think?
That the Rothschilds claim to be Jewish, but are in fact Khazars from Mongolian Eastern Europe. Like Eisenhower, the Rothschilds have Asiatic Mongolian genes, and not genes of Judaic people. The Rothschilds are like 95% of the Jews today, and have Khazar genes, and are now known as Ashkenazi Jews. But Georgia and Ukraine are 800 to 1,000 miles north of Palestine. Fact. Every Prime Minister of Israel has been a Khazar Ashkenazi Jew, with no connection to Semite people at all. An ultimatum was delivered by Russia and other surrounding nations impacted by the Khazar murders and robberies that they must reject paganism and choose between Judaism, Christianity, or Islam as their official state religion. The Khazarian king chose Judaism, but despite his promise, the oligarchs kept practicing ancient pagan Babylonian black magic, or secret Satanism. The king melded these practices with Judaism and created a secret satanic hybrid religion, derived from Babylonian Talmudism written by hired rabbis. The deep dark secret of the occult ceremonies was that they were all based on ancient Baal worship, also known as worship of the owl. It involves child sacrifice with bleed-outs, blood drinking, and eating of children's hearts.
What?
So these evil practices continue, and all these are part of the Khazarian Mafia today. In 900 AD to 1200 AD, Russian conquests were made into the Khazar kingdom, and eventually drove most of them out. The Russian prince, Svyatoslav, made war upon the Khazars. The Russians created the gradual fall of the Khazars, so in a matter of a decade, the Russians removed most Khazar presence. Unfortunately, the Khazarian leaders had a well-developed spy network and were able to escape across Europe, taking their vast fortune in gold and silver. They infiltrated Europe and Slavic nations, and perhaps back into Asia, infecting many nations and city-states, including as far as Venice, Spain, and most of Central Europe. In secret, they continued their satanic child blood and sacrifice rituals, all for their trusted Baal to give them the whole world and all its riches. Ever since, the Khazars have plotted eternal revenge against the Russians and the surrounding nations that invaded Khazaria and drove them out of power.
You know, I heard DNA tests are illegal in Israel. Is that true? Please drop a comment.